So a lot's happened since last week. I released a video about me making a video game, and a lot of you decided to subscribe. Maybe because I put at the end, hold me accountable for making this game by subscribing. Which honestly was kind of a throwaway thing, but I'm just more surprised that it worked. Now that I have an audience, this is great. I'm gonna have people watching me make a video game every step of the way. Now I'm gonna have to make a video game.
Together, and what have you got? Bibbidi-bobbidi.
So like most things, it's probably a good idea to have a plan. So the idea of the game is you're in this little hub area. The hub area is this level that we're currently in now. Maybe it'll get a couple revisions down the road, but I'm thinking of adding a few extra things to basically be points of interest. When you go to these points of interest, you can basically travel into different areas. These areas have different characters that you can meet, quests that you can resolve, and places that you can go through, maybe even more secrets in there. I like the idea of not constricting the player with their choices of where they can and cannot go. So the idea of giving them the choices of you can just roam free in this little hub area and find your own path is very pleasing to me. Kind of like Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls 1 where you can go off in different directions. I want the same for my game, and I think that makes replayability so much more.
Let's go through what we got so far. We got basic movement,
Hooray!
jumping,
Hooray!
that's done, crouching,
Hooray!
crouch walking,
Hooray!
no slide. We do have double jump, we don't have grabbing. Interacting with doors, technically we can do teleporting, but I want to do a little bit more with that. I think what we're going to work on next is let's just get the easy ones out of the way. So I got crouching working, but I also added double jump. There is the option to crouch though while you're mid jump, and I was going to get rid of this, but why not add it as a feature? So what we're going to do, we're going to have the character movement get put through to a set gravity scale. We're going to chuck that into the crouch option, so when you crouch, it makes the gravity 0. Oh no. No. This ain't right. Obviously, maybe change the gravity scale to something a little bit more. Maybe 600 will work. Nope, that's the sun. That's sun gravity, but who cares? All right, add another character movement, get another set gravity scale, and then we're just gonna chuck this to something a little bit more normal. One works really nicely, so if we go into the game now, and then we use our crouch, it basically sucks us down to the ground. Sucking to the ground probably isn't the best terminology, but it'll suck us to the ground, and then when we jump again, it'll just return the value back to normal. So, I mean, it makes parkour a little bit easier, so then you can actually just drop down exactly where you want to go. So, cool.
It'll do magic, believe it or not. Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo.
I tried to make some grass, but I didn't make this radioactive stuff, so I tried to just change the color of it, and I really didn't know what I was doing, but I got it green. Look at that. I tried to match the ground, and then chucked it in my map, and yikes. No, that's a piece of grass. No, that's literally. Anyway, now that it's gone, we can paint a smaller version of that giant, and wazam, look at that. Let's get in the game, and it looks like crap. It doesn't look horrible, but that just doesn't look right to me. So we're just gonna get rid of it. And I'm gonna look up a tutorial like I should have done originally and go off that. So I'm gonna make my own grass blades. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna delete the default cube, make a plane, shrink it down to a ruler, subdivide that, join the ends, rotate it upright, play around with the formation of it, copy it, make a few other versions of that, make them all different shapes and sizes. Not all grass blades are the same. Make a few more of those different versions. Gotta have a little bit more variation in there if you want a little bit more variation in there. Make sure that UV plane normal maps, I don't know what that is. It doesn't look like mine, maybe because she's using a different program. Try a little bit until you figure it out, and then export that and then import that into your project. Bam! And you should be basically done. There's your grass. It looks... So, once you finish that tutorial, you should have grass that looks similar to this. I turned off casting shadows for the particular grass blades themselves because it would be too taxing on devices, but I also kind of like the stylistic choice of it, you know? So I got a little bit lazy, and I decided to just make the brush size super large and paint.
No.
So once it finally loaded in, I decided to populate it a little bit more with a few other assets. I removed some of the larger hills from having grass as well because it looked a little bit too funky. I added some trees in there as well, and basically just rotating the grass, bushes and whatnot. Copying that over to another tree, got to reuse your assets somewhere. I then added some bushes and flowers, just added a little bit more depth to it, and it turned out amazing. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful this is. Wow. Another cool thing I added was this trigger box that connects up to this cine camera. The cool thing about this is that when you walk inside the trigger box, it tracks the player. I added this to the other side of the door as well, so when you teleport through, it acts as a little buffer and tracks the player when you're going over. I also added this cool one that has a nice payoff if you wait long enough. I also added this lighthouse. I mean, the lighthouse was already there, but I added another lighthouse, and it's underneath. It's a little bit bigger. It's got some interior. The camera inside this one is a little bit more scuffed. I haven't really solved it. I mean, there's a lot going on here. I mean, it's going back and forth. It's going up and down. Oh, and then it's in there. Okay. Anyway, so essentially we're just using this cine camera to basically track the player. I followed this tutorial by Matt Asplin. Hopefully I'm not butchering that name. He makes amazing tutorials and I would highly suggest just following that. This guy's got so many tutorials. Like, I played this game where I just scroll as fast as I can and it still doesn't end. For this one over here though, I added the regular hitbox, but I changed the blend time to be something crazy like 10 seconds. It's gonna take 10 seconds for it to blend between. And so essentially, you get this really slow, dramatic fade up. Okay, well, that's basically all I've done with the game so far. I've done other stuff in the background, but it's really not that important. But I wanted to go through and read some of your comments to see if there's any good ideas that I can just absolutely steal. Collaborate with my community. Obviously, that's where I was going with the end of that sentence. Wumberwork says, I love how the game looks. Zamari says, I love the crow and the cat as well. Fad Edit says, underrated. Psychedelic Cat says, please change your name. Okay. Banana Monkey says, cat. OC says, add multiple cats into your game for maximum profit. Oh my god, that's such a great idea! Hey guys, I'm just working on this totally original idea that I just came up with. It's a great idea. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to grab a bunch of cats. So you can follow along a tutorial I created to basically put these cats on little planes and then rotate them upright. But I also wanted to add them as like, I actually just wanted to be able to paint them like grass and other things like that. So I created a model and basically chucked it into the foliage plane. And then I painted them and they're all just laying on the floor, which is not really how cats work. I mean, most of the time. I mean, I don't know, your cat might be a little bit different. Anyway, rotate them upright, and then basically you just add a few extra cats in there. Bam, add them as foliage types. Make sure the collision is turned off, otherwise you're not going to be able to walk through them. Paint them on the floor like you do, like just regularly paint cats, and get carried a little bit carried away. And yeah, I mean, it turned out pretty great, honestly. I really like how the cats meow constantly in your ear, and I think I might end up changing it. Lastly, I may or may not have added something behind this waterfall. I don't know. Maybe I'll show it to you at some time in the future. Maybe I won't. Maybe you'll just have to play the entire game before you can actually see what. So if you have any good ideas for my video game, leave them down below in the comment section. I mean, I'll probably steal them.
Ajax is my favorite streamer. Everything he makes me happy. Yeah, Ajax Beezer 7.